This is also going to be a lot of talking. Oh, man, people get on Instagram and just talk, bro. Instagram, you remember
Definitely.
back in the day when Vine, you could only record for like 6 seconds? Instagram needs that. So, sorry, I just got to mentally prepare myself to even talk about this. Because the topic at hand is like a something that needs to be discussed and you know just like it's discussed and understood, but like these people just talk too much. Anyway, Benzino says he has the right to ask his daughter, Coi Leray, for money. I made you, you didn't make me. So we all know Coi Leray because girls is players too. And we hopefully all know Benzino. It was largely a part of Source magazine back in the day, and obviously again the father of Coi Leray. So there's ever since she popped out, there's been an unnecessary amount of drama between her and her parent, and obviously there's I don't want to get into the details, but they were part of their lives where they weren't, let's say, living together. Mom and dad not being together in situations, so they didn't necessarily have the greatest relationship even coming into her rise to fame and status. But whenever you do put fame, status, money into things, things get even more intermingled. So what root cause started this is Coi Leray did an interview with Angeli Martinez, Sultan Angeli Martinez, and because that's a prominent aspect of her life, people always ask her about that interview. Say, how do you feel about your father and things he does? She spoke on him. He didn't like the reaction, or he didn't like some of the things she said about him in that interview. So he addressed it. None of this is in this post except she comments on the fact that she won't talk about him in interviews anymore. I believe. I'll just kind of give a little better background. And it was largely because she said things like, he does too much. He does do too much sometimes. He wasn't always there for me. Um, and actually, kind of similar to something else we were talking about recently, where I forget, maybe it was Ti and his son or somebody, but like the story that she paints about the relationship and how much he contributed to her life is different from what he would say he contributed to her life. So there's a disconnect between that. So again, to give a bit of background, what this post largely stems from is in her reaction to his reaction to her interview. In this day and age, everything's a reaction on a reaction. She mentioned the fact that again, he does too much, and he also, unbeknownst to us, the people in general, he that sometimes requests money, and she's giving it. So let's listen to what she has to say. Yeah, it's kind of a lot, but you have to go back to like a few posts. Back. Okay, you go up one or up two. One more. Okay. So this was also some of the background history. Coi Leray says she will never speak to her dad, but then in interviews again and ask him to stop using her. I don't want to be your clout child. Your clout kid, sorry. Okay, now let's hear what the sister had to say.
Yep, I don't have to speak on this ever again. He made it very clear that he never wants to speak to me again. So I just wish that he would respect that. Again, the interview was done in June. I haven't said anything since, but respectfully, I just wish that we could just kind of just keep everything offline moving forward. If you have anything to say, you can call Grandpa Tito, you can call my mom, just like how you called me last week asking for what you asked for. You could have just hit me direct. Like, I'd rather you just do that on a respectful level of just me being your daughter at the end of the day. Like, we don't got to have a relationship, but I'm still your kid. It is what it is. So just respect the fact that what you're doing is not cool. Baby Zeno gotta see it. Taj gotta see it. Everybody gotta see it in the family. My grandfather texted me talking about.
And what Grandpa Tito have to do with any of this? Man, I think this is a little bit more. Let's hear what she has to say.
Breathing machine because he gets so worked up having to see him go online and just to create craziness for no reason, make up things, try to make it seem like I just don't, it just has to stop. And if you notice, it has been a pattern for some time now, a pattern since he went on Clubhouse and did the whole blick blick situation. and leaked the fact that I had the record with Nicki. Since he went and tried to downplay my album sales on Trendsetter, since he went and tried to like, it just seems like every single time, instead of you congratulating me and be happy for me, you want to go online and try to use me to prove yourself to these people in this industry on why you feel like you didn't get the respect or whatever it is that you deserve. I don't want to be your clout kid. I don't want to be your clout kid. I'd rather us, again, just hit me offline, hit our family, and other than that, I'll never, ever, ever mention anything in any more.
Fair enough. While it was a bit chatty for my taste, he was relatively respectful. This is a father and daughter, and they didn't necessarily say anything hyper aggressive about them. So let's see how. Also, this is again nothing to do nothing but Clubhouse. If you're being a chatty patty on Clubhouse in this day and age, ugh. All right, let's go all the way back to the beginning to see what the brother Benzino had to say. And let's see if it's as respectful, if you consider disrespectful, as what she said.
So this is his reaction to what she just said?
Correct.
Okay.
And what I called you for, yeah, I called.
Wait, is this the beginning?
Yes,
Oh my God.
This is the beginning.
All right.
Called you for some money. I made you. You didn't make me. Right? I called Ray Ray and everybody else.
You're bringing in Ray Ray.
Who the fuck else am I supposed to call?
Ray Ray got to do with it.
What the fuck is the matter with this generation and you kids, man? Y'all are. Angie knew what she was doing. She don't like me. Angela Yee knew what she was doing. She don't like me. But you had no problem with disrespecting the fucking man that brought you here. I had you. You didn't have me. My career, I did fucking things. Amazing things. I'm proud of what you're doing, but Coi, you ain't done this shit or made the money that I made. You couldn't walk in my fucking Adidas for an hour. How can you get on here and say that you're a clout? I'm using you for clout. Coi, your first record was disrespecting me.
I'm not gonna listen to the whole spiel, but let's just get a little more so we get enough context.
Your first record that Universal allowed was you disrespecting your father. In that narrative of me not being there and you had to come out and sell drugs and you had to overcome all these obstacles. No. You was bad. Your mother sent you down to live with me in Atlanta. You couldn't cope with that because I wasn't going for the shit that she goes for and went for. So I don't know if there was some anger because of that, but that's all how I knew to be a father. How am I using you as a clout kid? Do you know, Coi, when me and your mother broke up, the $800,000 new house in Upper Saddle River, not Saddle River, we moved from the mansion to Upper Saddle River. Remember, I got indicted by the feds and I lost everything. I got indicted by the feds and I lost everything. Now, I go.
Yeah, there's more of it. You get the gist of it. Like you guys are saying, he kind of spilling family business, and it is unfortunate. Although, when I look at things like this, even though they are talking about some things that we can't even grasp because they're talking about like the dynamic between somebody being a famous rapper and dissing your dad and then the dad responding to it. I think on a very one-way smaller level, we can all relate to like either this being a family dynamic in our own families, not necessarily one-to-one with us and our parents, but like we've seen in our family or just being adjacent to it. Like you hear stuff about this that I think parent child, especially when the child gets older, relationships always do kind of face a little of like, now that I'm older and I'm looking back at my childhood and the things I'm doing now, there were some flaws in it, and I don't think those conversations are acceptable to have. Obviously, public is a whole different conversation, and I think there's a lot to this. These people need literal counseling. Confidential counseling, of course. I think if you were to kind of pinpoint some of probably the key hurting points is, like you heard here, there's a difference in like the retelling of how of how they grew up, and maybe you can say someone's being unappreciative and someone's being a bit, hey, I gave you this life and you should be appreciating of me. It's always that dynamic. And I think there's also one of the bigger things is like, I mean, it's the first thing he said. He is very, or the parent is very much of the mindset of, hey, I made you, so if I ask for something, you damn right better give it to me. Um, and the kids, I was like, she wasn't actually against it. She obviously seemed like they did it, or whatever the case may be. But they did look at it like it's kind of wild how I'm giving you money when you're asking for it. Like there was some apprehension up to that. So I think that's kind of what I want to focus on. There's a lot of, again, we're not here to solve anybody's family damage here, but it is interesting to look at some of these situations just in like a general, and maybe even related to our lives, or see what we would do based off these situations. Because I mean, again, a damaged relationship between a parent and child, I don't think is uncommon. When you're famous and making it public, that's a whole different level. But so I think one of the first things I wanted to ask y'all is, what do y'all think? And we had some of these, conversations with the parent-child dynamic. Is a parent owed anything? But what do y'all think about, especially looking at this type of situation? What do y'all think about the conversation of? Actually, I guess I'll ask this first. Do you think respect for a parent is earned, or do you think it has to be there by default? I'll start with you, Ace. What do you think?
I think I think it's earned,
Hmm.
but the the barrier to earning it is pretty low. Like all the parent really has to do is, and I'm not saying like this is trivial, but they need to provide for the child. Like it's not just you pop out a kid and you never see him again, but or you don't see them for, you come back into their life and you expect to be respected as a parent. Like you can be respected as an adult, but if you didn't do the job as a parent, you don't deserve the respect of a parent, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, that's my general opinion. And then of course, it becomes more nuanced when you think about, well, okay, the parent raised the child, but were they abusive to the child? That, and then how does that change the dynamic? Obviously, that's going to change things a bit, but for the most part, I think like if the parent does the bare minimum of providing for the kid, he's setting them up um for success as adult and as best as could. Um, yeah, the parent deserves all the respect.
And you're not
Um,
even necessarily saying like that's like the easiest thing in the world to do, because obviously
no,
child
not at
child
all.
raising is a task in itself. But you're saying like,
Exactly.
if you can address that essential aspect of it, then you would say that a child should respect their parent.
Exactly. And that's why, because child raising something is not trivial, like
Hmm.
by any stretch of imagination. The tr- if the parent does that job, they are deserving of that, the respect that you give to a parent over just some other random adult
Gotcha, gotcha.
or any other adult.
And then what about you, Ghost? Do you agree? Do you think a parent respect for a parent is earned, or do you think ultimately should be default?
I think it should be earned, and similar to Ace, the barrier for entry should be you provide for the kid, and I don't know. There's caveats to it because as a parent, you shouldn't expect anything from your kid outside of, I guess, love and respect. But
Mhm.
at the same time, you have to make decisions in order to earn that. Like you can't just expect it for birthing the child and that's it. Like that's the kid didn't ask for that. Like
Facts.
I've never understood that argument. I brought you into this world. I think that's a stupid argument because The kid is like, because you made the decision, now the kid owes you for that. No, I agree with
Well, I
that,
mean, especially mothers, that is not a light thing to do, to birth a
bro.
child.
I'm not saying it's a light thing, and I'm not saying it isn't bringing the child into the world, raising. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter, but using that as an argument for why you should or shouldn't be able. Again, it's different because respect is something that should always be there if it's deserved and earned.
Mhm.
And I get some aspects of like you raise them from when they were a child, and there's a certain level of that you can never repay no matter what you do. But using it against the child to force them to do things that you want them to do
Mhm.
beyond looking out for their best interest, and because you want something from them, it's fucked up. And saying, "Oh, I brought you into this world, I can take you." No, that's not how it should work.
Wait,
Like the child should.
you're not gonna use the I brought you in this world. I'm gonna take you online to your
No,
kids.
no, I'm not going to use that.
I'm not gonna lie, that one kind of fire. Sorry.
I mean, it sounds cool, but yeah, I not. To me, I never understood that rationale. In like in a situation like this, where he's talking about like this is the exact thing that it should not be the case, because he didn't say anything like he. The very first thing was that he brought her into this world, and therefore she owes. That's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
And I just want to say that the fact that I'm on her side in this, because again, I don't know anything about the situation, but she made the post on social media saying hit her up directly. He comes on and makes a public
That
video
is actually
airing out
worth
all
pointing
the
out.
details, making it public. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on.
Yeah, the literal
Like
thing
that
that
just
they asked for.
destroyed your entire argument right there.
That's actually, yeah,
Just
actually,
stupid shit.
actually, kind of Euro step past that point. Yeah, they literally just asked for some privacy in the matter, and they literally said "f that." But I mean, it's not a good argument. But some people do say like, if somebody makes a public statement about you, you have the right to have the same level of publicity, have the same level of public response. Some people would say that. That's all I'm saying.
It's BS, man. You're talking about a father and a daughter. Like
And to be
I
fair
kind
to her, I
of.
mean, she kind of was saying some stuff, but she didn't really like it. Again, it wasn't really judgmental. It's more so just want to handle it offline, and the drama that the situation's creating isn't good. But she didn't say anything about him specifically, I guess. And if she said it in the first place, then yeah, it is maybe the first time I get why he would have responded in public after that message that we saw first, where she says specifically take it offline, and he no, I'm gonna keep it. You're a fucking grown ass man, bro.
Exactly.
Doing petty fucking childish shit.
Exactly.
I largely agree, especially in this context of this situation. But I think from a parent's perspective, like again, if you feel because you guys did kind of illustrate or outline a world in which the respect is earned. So if you feel you've done that part of the bargain, and then you still get disrespected, does he not have some level of right to feel like what the f is going on here, and now I'm going to respond?
Be an
Well,
adult. Like
he
the
has the right. Again, I don't know their situation. He could be accurate in what he's saying. She's inaccurate. I don't know. But the fact is, like, he could have sent this message directly to her.
That's a fact.
Just same exact message. Just send it in email, whatever, privately.
Email.
But he didn't.
You mean a
That's what
voice message
what it
or a
was.
text at the minimum? Email your daughter is funny. Sorry.
So, I don't. Yeah, he could have done something. Could have FaceTime, but yeah, he did all this. So yeah, his arguments are out the window.
I think
He
every
like he's saying he's not using her for clout. This posting video is the definition of using her for clout, because and he could have kept it private, but he wants the attention.
yes,
yeah.
that's exactly it.
Whenever people start mentioning they're not doing something for clout, but they're doing it online, Spoiler, they're 100% doing it for the clout. Um, yeah, I think if you do make that point about like hard line, they ask you to keep it offline, and you continue to be online. I think that's where his arguments will fall flat. I think some of the sentiments that he's feeling could be valid. Again, I don't necessarily like to use this a lot, but you also got to take account for like the type of person people are. You got to kind of meet people where they're at. This is an older New Yorkian brother. He's like has a completely different mindset and like rules, like not street code, but like older people just have a certain level of respect for their elders that some younger individuals might not. And again, if he feels like as a parent, he feels like you've done a lot, and especially if you provided your child with a lifestyle that a lot of people couldn't even dream of, and then you still get disrespected, then you could look at it like, damn, I'm getting shitted on, and I did all that I could. Like, of course, I'm like,
Well, it
I
seems
think
like
we all agree
his
with that.
complaint isn't really about the respect. His complaint is the fact that she's not giving him the money and that he feels entitled to. That's what
oh,
I'm reading from
so
it.
let's get to that point. Nice segue or transition. So that's other seems to be a hurting point of this, and I think again we talked about something similar, but I just want to know y'all stance on it right now. Do we think that there should be no issues and a parent is entitled to a child's resources, especially when they start to get a little older? Wait, let's go back in reverse. What do you think goes?
I think that a child should be willing to a certain extent if their parents needed to provide it for them if they're able. Should be willing, not required. And on the flip side, if a parent you can ask something of your kid if you need it, like he's entitled to ask for the money, but she's not entitled to give it to him, or like it shouldn't be a requirement because of X, X, and X. Because for one, she may feel that he doesn't deserve it based on their past relationship, whatever. I don't know their details. And for two, isn't like the literal whole point of being a parent, isn't it like unconditional love? Like you shouldn't require anything because you did this, this, and that. Oh, now you got to pay it back 20 years later. Like,
A parent's a
what are we doing?
parent's a parent's love is the closest thing to unconditional love that should exist. That is a fact. Um,
It's-
yeah, and I guess I'll ask what you think before I respond to that because I think you'll largely agree. But yeah, what do you think, Ace? Do you think a parent is entitled to a child's resources, or do you
Um,
feel like it should be given without any issues?
yeah, I mean, I, I think ideally it should be able to be given without any issues. I don't think a parent is entitled to the kids' resources though, and I think any parent with like rational mind would agree with me. It's like that should be the last thing a parent wants to do it or uh yeah, is ask their kid for money. Like you want the goal is to set your kid
Wait,
up for
so
success so they
are you saying his brother's irrational? Didn't he literally say the contrary? Sorry.
I mean, I don't know the context of why he's asking for the point, um but no, it's not necessarily to say that he doesn't fall into that category. I think what I'm saying is that for a parent, it should be the last thing that they want to last situation they want to be in where they have to ask their kid for money. Like because the goal of parenting is the complete opposite of that. It's to set the kid up so that they're successful um and they can go out and be on their own without having to um come back and like support you.
Yeah, exactly. And
um
what if your kid does become ultra successful?
yeah, if the kid, it doesn't matter if the kid's successful or not. The parents um mindset on that, I think should still be the same. Like it shouldn't be that
So you're telling me that if
kid
I
becomes successful and now the kid is your expectation is that the kid supports you.
you're saying that shouldn't be the expectation, or you said that should be the expectation?
It shouldn't.
So you're telling me if I put all my love, care, time, and attention to my kid, I raise him up to be, he goes to the league, and he's earning millions. I wasn't the key contributing factor to that. I didn't. That wasn't like literally my investment, so to speak, in a very, you're not using it verbatim to what
You
you would
saying it's
think.
an investment?
But
No, I mean,
Not saying it to,
is
not
the
saying
kid
it
a stock? Like,
literally. Huh? What'd you say, Ghost?
is the kid a stock? Like you put X amount of time into it, so now you should see
I'm just
returns.
saying, is it not a very human natural mindset to think if I put time, effort, care into something and watch it grow, some of that is like it's like don't I deserve something?
Yeah.
I deserve
but
nothing.
that's baffling.
no.
No, that logical. Like I
This
don't
isn't
see
like a
that.
plant that you're
Right. I don't see
getting.
that.
Your
See
child
that connection.
is your seed. It is a seed
No,
that you planted and it
no.
grew. And if
Unconditional.
you watched it grow and it bear
Unconditional.
fruit, why can't you get some of the fruit?
Unconditional, meaning that you shouldn't be expecting anything. Like that's not the that's not the point of having a kid. Like
I'm not saying it should be the point, but for you, I don't think you guys surely would say it's not a part of human nature. Like this is kind of like it is what it is type of thing.
no, it's well, it's a part of human nature, but if you're a parent, it shouldn't be. You should never. It is how it is.
So y'all are
Unconditional.
telling me if and when y'all have kids, they grow up, and let's say obviously can't imagine us ever asking, but they never even attempt to give you back anything. You wouldn't feel any type of way about that?
No, I would not. No, I really would not.
No, and I think like
No,
the
you
extent
can be skeptical all
the
you want. The
extent
answer is no.
the extent to which I think a parent should want something from a child might be like when they're at the age where they're starting to lose their mental facilities and things like that, and they need to be taken care of.
This is true.
I think in that, like, yeah, you want, and I think it's okay to say you expect that the kid is going um to help you navigate that when you get to the point in your, but other than that, like before that, expecting something, to me, I cannot make the logical connection to where a parent um
So,
should expect
Quest,
something.
I really
you
go ahead.
got siblings that you've had some level of caretaking responsibilities for. If one of them, I don't know, let's say one of them hit the lottery, would you expect them to give you like a certain percentage or a few million, or if they hit like a mega million or something, or
One,
would you be cool with them either
one,
not giving you as much as you thought or not giving you anything?
one. This is probably one of the best examples we can provide, or analogies, or whatever the case may be. Probably at this time in our lives, I do see siblings and children as a completely different entity. I think siblings
Yeah,
is
it is. It is
literally
different.
like
Yeah,
a
it's definitely
completely different
different.
thing.
But
Two, um, I mean, you guys probably know this, but I don't necessarily disagree with y'all's stances. I'm just kind of challenging it. And three, to be quite honest, I'm on record, so I'll put even more on record. I have literal brothers right now who participate in sports because I pushed them in that direction. And I'm pretty sure they know that if they gain some level of success with that and they blow up and they get really good and really famous, I'm getting credit. I'm getting my credit.
well, credit
Credit
is
or
one thing,
money?
but what does credit entail? Like they just shout you out in their acceptance
kind
speech, or
honestly, for me, that would be acceptable enough. Yes.
I mean, I that's why I'm asking because for you, I know how you operate, and I can't imagine you someone to ask or say you owe me X amount of money. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, again, I do, and that's why I'm not gonna jump out the water and say I don't believe you guys. You guys' hard stance on it kind of makes me a bit kind of like I want to challenge it more. But yeah, I think I largely agree with y'all. I do think that it. The one thing I don't know if I'm 100% sure on, I do think it would, in the slightest way possible, hurt a parent's feeling if their child did become ultra successful. Like we're talking about becoming in the top 15% of people, and they didn't give back to you in any way. I don't think you would be totally unfazed by that. But I'm not saying you guys are lying. I'm not doing any of that. I just think a person like it's kind of natural. It's just like you. I mean, obviously, I think, and another thing, I think your level of being proud of them and being overjoyed in what they've accomplished. I think that would be the highest thing. I just think like it's just natural. It's like you literally poured your blood, sweat, and tears into this person, and they don't even want to give you a a $1 green.
I mean,
well,
the thing is, like, it's should it be expected? And like maybe there's I can think, okay, if the parent is like a bum on the streets, or and the kid is mad successful, the parent's down and out, and like the kid just isn't trying to help whatsoever. I can see I can see the parent um taking issue with that, but uh but at the same time, like, in my mind, the ideal is that the parent does not expect it, and the kid, on the other hand, um is
Like more than willing to
is
provide it without even saying.
exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's where we can start to relate ourselves to this because I think I'll speak for myself. Like I'm on record. Like my mother has never really asked too much of me for financial, but if they did need it, I would empty out my bank account. Like it would just be like they got it. So I can
Right.
definitely understand from that perspective. And obviously we're also not parents yet, but I do think I can see a world in which when you get to that point, you see your child finally blow up and they, graduating and getting their accomplishments, you know, you might just want a little credit. And for some people, credit is in the form of cold hard cash, just like Ghost was saying earlier. Not you're saying credit, but that would be your favorite form of gift. Um,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
but yeah, ultimately speaking, there's a lot of moral stories in this, and there's a lot of aspects of this, like child damage dynamic that we didn't touch on, and will obviously there'll also be topics and conversation where we do. But ultimately, family situations, especially parents and child dynamics, should 1,000% uh, take place privately. Like putting it in out into the public, and now other people, like even us, or just three stoners, are speaking on it doesn't necessarily help. Although maybe somebody can listen to this and have a better sense of how to navigate when dealing with parent issues. But it doesn't necessarily help your intimate situation. And I think what you guys were saying is largely right. As a parent, this type of attitude is going to lead to you being less happy, and like just that attitude and mindset is not going to help you build that truly unconditional loving bond that you're supposed to have with your child, because this thing of like I made you so you owe me. Yeah, again, people don't ask to be born. Obviously it's a blessing, and we should like have some level of love we because our parents birthed us and raised us. But the whole "you made me" thing is like it just don't hold a lot of weight. I'm gonna be honest with you. and also bringing in what you've done, like it kind of makes you look worse if you like saying, "Hey, you haven't even done a fraction of the things I've done."
Yeah,
Like
you look like
that's
a clown.
that's more okay. So if that's the case, then why are you asking me
Exactly.
for
Why you
it?
asking for money?
Like it really is just not a good
You
look.
look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, we don't like to hyper focus on the specific what the person said at hand, but this is one I absolutely cannot salute, Benzino. Um, it's definitely a bad look, but I do like resolution, so it would be nice to see, a follow up post about, hey, we worked it out, we talked it out. Maybe a apology and all this. But I'm not here to want.
Yeah, I want to give a disclaimer if it wasn't obvious. Like, I do not understand the full dynamics of the situation. Um, but based on what we've seen, the maybe there was fault on Coileray's part in the beginning, or in the beginning, which is, from my understanding, this interview she did where she spoke on him in a negative light. But after that, the way it was handled by Benzino is just like, dog, this is not
Yeah,
the way to handle something like an adult, like a
absolutely.
father.
I tried to give like a little context, just like what led us to here, but obviously, like he's saying, when they one of their first records that gained a little notoriety, they might have been saying some not 100% positive things about him. So that's what sparked it. And then they went on to do maybe even multiple interviews where, admittedly, all the interviewers do ask her about this situation, which is why they come up. And maybe they could have handled that in a better situation. I like to speak. I like to keep my affairs between me and my father privately. They're young, not giving them bail, but now they probably have a better sense of how to handle interviews and things of that nature. And as a father or as a parent, for better or for worse, you do have to kind of not necessarily take things on the chin, but be understanding of the fact that kids, especially when they are growing up and being young adults, they are going to be inclined to make mistakes, and they might even slip up and do some things that make you look bad. But you got to be there to be like, okay, I'm still 100% proud of this. Well, I'm majority proud of the person, and um, I'm glad that they were able to achieve this. Like that would have been the ultimate like classy response they could have done. Like when people ask him about the situation or a parent about the situation, just like, hey, we don't see eye to eye 100%, but I'm glad that they're able to succeed success, and I want the best for them. You keep it at that, you look not. I'm not to make it an optics thing, but you are. That should be your mentality. Just that should be what it is. Um, but again, you know, parent-child dynamics, especially when children get older, aren't necessarily the easiest. We're here to just talk about it, see if we can make sense of it. But if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic.